So you are seeking a third term as U.S. Senator. As we talked during your presidential campaign, you do it all without a lot of caffeine. And you're still doing it. You're just doing tea, lightly steeped.
That's right, lightly steeped. And in fact, I think I have a non-caffeinated tea here. So ready to go,
So when I asked you how you did it and what motivated you in 2020, you had told me it's a
fight from the heart.
You still feel that way?
I very much feel that way. And the way I feel about it right now is I feel really energized because I've seen what we can do and I know what we need to do. We got the biggest infrastructure package in history. I've been able, along with the rest of our delegation, to bring more than $20 billion back into Massachusetts. This is how we can afford things like the Cape Cod bridges and new water lines and sexy stuff like sewer lines all around the Commonwealth. We were able to do the biggest climate package in the history of the world, paid for by my 15% minimum tax on these billionaire corporations. We got $35 insulin. We got the CHIPS and Science bill through. We got stuff we really need to do. We need to protect access to abortion all across this country, protect access to IVF. We need to make the investment in childcare, and we need to make a federal investment so that we can bring down the cost of housing. We need that desperately here in Massachusetts. We need it in cities, we need it in little towns, we need it in rural areas.
You name a bunch of issues right there, that stuff you still want to work on. So, are these all the biggest issues facing Massachusetts voters, you think, right now?
I think they are. I see it this way. One huge issue is the personal freedom issue. Half our population has lost what had been a constitutionally guaranteed right. I also see it as bringing down costs for families.
Your opponent here in Massachusetts sounds like he agrees with you on this issue. He said just today he would codify protections under Roe, support access to infertility treatments, and switch parties if they brought forth a federal abortion ban.
Then he should have run as a Democrat, because right now the Republican Party is the one that is advancing a nationwide abortion ban. And if Republicans get control of the Senate, we won't get to vote on a nationwide protection for access to abortion.
Is there one single thing you're most proud of?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Let me be a geek for a minute here. Okay, total geekville. It's my 15% minimum tax on billionaire corporations. And let me tell you why. And this has been 6, 7, 8 years ago. And people just told me, pie in the sky, girl. And then in that moment, when we had Democratic control of the House and the Senate and the White House, and this giant climate package came along, I had to pay for it.
There are real life impacts with the migrant crisis that we're feeling in communities all over Massachusetts. The governor has been saying forever, we need funds from the federal government. We need help. As Senator, how are you going to help get that money on the ground here?
We understand that there's a lot of strain right now. And it's strain on our healthcare system, it's strain on public works, it's strain on housing. Immigration is a federal issue. That means that it is the federal government that should be fully reimbursing the states for all of the expenses of caring for the migrants who are here.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about you?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think most people think I do economic work around the middle class and fighting for women's rights, particularly on the abortion issue, is kind of the two main things I spend 99% of my time on. It actually turns out I'm on the Senate Armed Services Committee, and I spend a lot of time on military families. Particularly, I've been working on traumatic brain injury. We started seeing this 6, 8 years ago, beginning to see people who had been in Afghanistan, for example, in Iraq, hit by IEDs repeatedly. I've been working hard to get them federal funding for diagnosis and treatment, but also for research. You know, somebody's got to be out there fighting for the people who fight for us.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, thank you once again.
So good to see you again.
Likewise, likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you.